I hit 4.5K revenue in that month of August, which was just incredible. Like I never ever made that on a teacher wage. And like I had my first hire.
Amy, do you want to just kind of take just maybe a quick minute just to kind of introduce you guys, where you guys are located at, kind of the specifics of your business, and then we'll kind of dive into some specifics of how we got here. Does that sound good?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, my name's Amy and this is my husband Jacob. And we live in the southwest of England. And yeah, my former background is I'm a primary school teacher, fully qualified, was working for years in schools in the southwest. And now I'm the business owner of the Reading Mastery Tutoring.
Amy, where were you at? If you rewind back to, January, February of this year before you kind of came in here with us, what did life look like? What did it feel like? What was going on in the tutoring space? Can you kind of fill us in?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I left the education sector, I sort of felt like I was going through a midlife crisis, not really knowing what to do, wanting to still utilize my teaching passions. And so I turned to the world of TEFL, which is teaching English as a foreign language. And
Hmm.
I absolutely loved teaching students all over the world of all ages how to speak English, which has always been a passion of mine. And I absolutely loved it and felt really fulfilled in it, but had no clue how to run a business. And so I was just working off of programs and sites who were taking the highest cuts and
Hmm.
percentage of like everything that I was earning. And of course, in that world, it is heavily one to one, and so you can't maximize your time, your diary, your income, and so just kind of got to a point where, although I was enjoying it, like I was hitting a dead end with it. It was like
Yeah.
if I don't change and I don't make a drastic move, like I'm gonna have to get a whole nother job. And the thought of going back into the classroom like terrified me and motivated me enough that it kind of gave me the momentum to go like, no, I need to make some drastic changes here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure, just seeing her in that space, Jay, that was something that was pretty motivating for you to kind of help her find a path forward, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, for me, seeing Amy leave teaching was very hard. So for me, I just wanted to kind of help and facilitate any way possible that I could.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why, yeah, I definitely encouraged Amy to kind of seek a little bit more. I think at first you think like we'll just go down this path and we'll try this route, not knowing the online kind of space or anything like that. And of course, like I'm not a teacher, I don't know anything really about teaching. Um, so yeah, for me, it was like kind of pushing her in the right direction to kind of say like, look, why don't we try something else? We've tried this for, I think it was about a year that you did.
Yeah,
So
just
we did
short of a
about a
year, wasn't
year,
it?
and then it was like, right, it's going really well, but how do we kind of take this to the next level? How do we kind of maximize sort of what you're doing? And then yeah, go from there really.
I see that tenfold, man, in you being
Mm.
able to support her and really cheer her on. Has that been something that maybe took a little bit of time there in the beginning to kind of get her to a place where she was like ready to kind of jump in to something? Did you kind of build her up?
Yeah, no, I definitely think so. So like when Amy left teaching, it was very difficult. Amy was probably a little bit low. Confidence wasn't there, self-esteem wasn't there, or anything like that.
Mm.
And I kind of said to Amy like, you need to take this time to kind of heal and figure out what you want to do.
Mm.
And in the meantime, like that's fine with me. I'm always going to help and support, but you kind of need to figure it out for yourself a little bit, but also I'll try and help along the way. And that was always my kind of, I didn't want to force her back to teaching in the classroom or getting another job that she didn't want to get.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer of like you need to enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
Like I love my job. My job's massive and I love my job. Amy was a massive influence for my job as well. Like going self-employed myself and running my own business. Amy always encouraged me to do it very early on. So we both do the same. As much as I help Amy, Amy helps me, and that's always been the key to it, is like just get behind each other and help and support
Love
in
that.
any way you can.
Love that. To kind of say, hey, what do I want to find moving forward? What was that for you when you kind of thought about, wow, what are those key things that you were looking for on this journey as you're continuing to push forward, Amy? What's that look like as you kind of glance into the future of what is to come?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, like I'm a teacher through and through, whether I'm like with adults or children, I'm a teacher in my blood. It's who I am. And I think my perspective was so narrow-minded before. Like I thought you could only do it one way. Like I'd gone to university, I'd done the degree, I'd gone into the classroom, and I thought if I leave this, I've scuppered my career. Like that is the end all. And so having that kind of like, I don't know, like breath of fresh air almost, of like realizing that there's other capacities and other ways in which you can help raise and change the next generation. And for me, like that is my heart and focus. Like I just want to work with as many children around the UK, support them in a key area of their life, which is reading. It's, you know, a fundamental skill that falls into every aspect of our lives, whether we want it to or not. And for me, like that passion and that drive to work with students, to bring about change, to build confidence, to renew skill sets, like that drove me to a place of going, I need to get out of my head, like out of my low self-esteem, like out of my experiences, past my traumas, and I need to actually be a boss of this, and I need to go and make a difference. And the teacher project brought me to that place, which enabled me to start making those steps and seeing that I do have a future in something I feel very much called to do.
I love that. Just hearing your passion. Just going ahead and digging in a little bit more here, Amy. You know, as you have started with our Accelerator Students on Demand program, let's just start there. Like, how's the experience been for you as a whole? You know, coming into that program, moving forward into impact. Can you kind of just give us a little gist of kind of what you've experienced here in the community and with the support and just the encouragement moving forward?
Absolutely. I think like first things first, it is the steepest learning curve you were ever gonna take. Like honestly, I sometimes just walk around with so much pride of like how intelligent I feel now. Like I just feel like I've upskilled myself in so many areas that I didn't have any experience in before. You know, the beauty of working in a classroom is you never have to fish for students. You turn up and they are there. And so suddenly when you're a self-employed businessman or woman and you've got to go out there and you've got to, you know, show people what you're worth and where your value lies and what amazing programs you have to offer, like you've got to do that all for yourself. And it's scary and it can feel intimidating and overwhelming. But the teacher project, like, literally helped my hand, like, held my hand through like every step of the way. We've got coaches that specialize in like how to take sales calls, coaches that are like absolute kings of ads and marketing. And so just really help to guide you through that process. How to make it like explicit through all the training and the modules. And it just breaks things down into really manageable steps. Every time I've kind of felt like overwhelmed over something, like there's been my personal coach or one of the other coaches that I could just turn to and say, like, hey, this is my end goal. I'm here. What do I do in the interim? And they've just been like, right, A, B, C, like, let's get focused, let's get channeled on what margins you need to make. That's been super helpful. But oh my goodness, the community within the teacher project is just, it's next level, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
you said when you came to the event in London, like this is like one big family. But it really is. Like I've never met people who are earning like seven figures and have the space in their life to sit and chat with little old me from the southwest of England about what's going on in my world and how I want to launch a business and how I'm gonna grow this and what I'm gonna do in my life. And there's people that are ahead of me, behind me, at the same pace as me. And what's been amazing is like nobody lets anybody get left behind. Like we share resources, we share tips, we're encouraging each other. And that's honestly kept me going. Because sometimes business is lonely. Like just being really real, it's a lonely place sometimes, especially in the early stages when you don't have a team.
And so I know, Jay, this was something that you were probably trying to feel out, right? Like, who
Yeah.
are these people
Yeah,
online,
yeah.
man? But can you share a little bit about the event and kind of what you found here at the Teacher Project?
Yeah, definitely. I think the event for me was a real eye opener. Um, at first, like before Amy joined the Teacher Project, I was very skeptical. I was very kind of like weary. I didn't really know how to like how it was going to work,
Mm,
if people were going to be trustworthy, if people were going to even be like real for me, for my
mm,
wife. But actually going to the event, meeting like yourself and all the coaches, even just like Amy's peers and things like that, like we made so many good connections.
mm.
And like even now, like Amy will be on a call at home sometimes with a few of them, that we met at London, and whenever I'll just pop in sometimes, and I'll just poke my head over and just say hi to everyone, and everyone's like, "Don't go, Jay, don't go! Like, come and have a chat and things like that." And it was just yeah, it was just so nice because as well, like it felt like you say, it felt like family, but also like everyone there was just like it wasn't just about business.
Mm,
People cared about me. People cared about Amy. They cared about our marriage. They cared
yeah.
about our future together. So yeah, it's not all just about business. It's like you say, it's about being a family and like being there for each other.
Amy, as we kind of look at, hey, what the experience was, I know a lot of people have different results that really stand out to them as they're kind of working their way through, and especially as you're working through identity shifts and mindset shifts and learning about marketing and sales.
Mm,
You know,
mm.
what's been kind of the biggest maybe jump in one of those areas that you kind of felt like you've had here while being at the Teacher Project?
Yeah, like oh gosh, there's been so many. I feel like every day I'm making like massive shifts and jumps. But I think the things that really stand out to me the most is like firstly my confidence, which hasn't just been noticed like by myself, but friends and family have come and said like, Amy, you're just a different person. Like, and it's not because you're just like working super hard or you have a great business now, but it's like your self-esteem, like your belief in yourself, how you lead others like is just another level. And I really feel like it's not come because I'm a good person and I teach well. Like I do teach generally well, but that's not where my confidence lies. I think it comes because when you understand like what you truly can bring to the table, whether that's teaching geography or maths or reading, when you really understand that you are changing lives and that you can take somebody from A to B, like the journey and the method in between, like that's irrelevant and it's different for everybody. And so really I've just learned like that sales is leadership, like
Mm.
being able to take people on a journey of going, this is where you're at, this is where your struggles are, this is how I can help, this is how I can come alongside, and then see them come out the other side and want to sign up their children or their friends or continue, like has just brought my confidence to a whole new level. I think as a result of that, like I've just seen growth. I hit in August, I hit my first, I hit 4.5K revenue in that month of August, which was just incredible. Like I never ever made that on a teacher wage. And like I had my first hire. I've hired a tutor. I'm starting to build the dream of having a team, starting to scale things up. I've got more programs running this month than I have. And I've been in the teacher project, what, 5 months? 5 months. I'm one of those. I wasn't even running ads and teaching yet. And so it's just incredible what can happen when you've got like drive, momentum, support, and things in place to really like excel. And so, yeah, for me, those three things like my confidence, seeing my earning hit new thresholds, and beginning to build the dream team, like those for me have been my biggest wins so far.
And it's crazy to see how much you can actually scale that up once you really dial in the marketing and
Hmm.
really start understanding sales. And when I look at you, you made 4 sales last week, right? And being able to pull those in. How did that feel? Because I know sometimes those sales come in spurts, but from a confidence side of things, what was going on in your head? Is there any insights you can share in regards to kind of what happened with, those 4 enrollments coming kind of back to back to back?
Oh, like it's just being consistent. I think it's being consistent, and I think for me, like the biggest like breakthrough that I've had is like nothing in the sales side of things is personal. Like I'm there to purely lead. If I don't feel my program is right for a child or a family, or they don't feel it's right for me, like that's fine. There is nothing like personal in this. Like it's all about bringing everybody to the right decision and the right outcome and the right support. And so to lead people in that way, actually find your right matches for your groups and just see them like rolling in and loving it. And, just this week, those 4 that I've hired have actually started a group with my new tutor learning phonics. And already I'm getting parents messaging me, your tutor's incredible, like what an amazing win. And so, seeing those things start to just take place, it just gives you momentum to go, I got to keep going. Like I need to just reach more. I just need to like keep getting the word out there that actually like this works and this is good.
When you kind of think about you going on this journey here, and this is to both of you, what's the impact that it's had on you guys, on your family, as on your marriage together? Amy, I'll start with you and then we'll pop over to Jay.
Yeah, I think for me, like it's given me like so much hope again. Um, I think, both of us like we're young, we're both self-employed, and like in today's climate, that's a little bit crazy. But do you know what? Like we've had nothing but like just love, support, and like communication with each other. And I think like to echo what Jay said earlier, and the importance of like being a team, like if you have a spouse, and being in each other's corner and just being there as a support and going sacrificing different seasons. And I think
Mm-hmm.
we've both done that. Like for years when I was working, he then went self-employed, and now he's got a stable job. Then I made the transition. And now it's like this amazing sort of season that we're in. I was seeing our businesses scale, seeing the impact that it can have. And we're starting to go, oh my goodness, like we can move house. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I build a team, I can have a successful business that is running, and I can start a family, and I can be a mum, and I can choose on my own terms how much time I want to raise it personally or where I want to dip in and teach. And like those prospects have just so like excited us. And I think whenever you're making decisions like this, guys, when you're thinking about like the future and business steps, like always have like your bigger picture in mind. Like for us, it was never about the money we could earn. Of course, being financially stable and comfortable is incredible. Do I want to earn enough so I can go and frequently go and visit my beautiful niece over in the US? Absolutely. Okay. But most importantly, like, is this going to set us up for the best future that we've like dreamt over our marriage? That's the goal. Like, that is the goal.
Can you just share a little bit about like what that experience has been like, kind of having you be assigned like your personal accountability coach who's been kind of helping you on this journey from the very beginning?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like, first of all, like, you're rubbing shoulders daily with someone who's way further down the line than you, someone who's experienced, someone who's like vulnerable and honest enough to share their mistakes. I remember in one of my first ever calls with my coach, like him being like, so this is how much debt I got into doing this with sales and doing this with marketing. And I was just like, whoa, like, wow, this is amazing. Like having somebody be like so raw and honest with me, and then be like, so this is why accountability matters. Because when you think you're good enough to just go it alone and do it alone, like you hit potholes, or you hit moments of like you just feel deflated and you don't want to pick yourself up. And so Matt has been instrumental in my journey, like in keeping me accountable, keeping me driven, keeping me focused, like helping me get out of those potholes. Every time I come to him with like a question or an issue, he's like, here's a solution. Or he'll be like, what are you doing to find the solution? And so I'm constantly like growing and just becoming more and more like the businesswoman that I want to be.
As you think about folks that were in the same position as you kind of rewind back into March timeframe of where you were kind of just in your mindset and your mentality, like what advice would you give them about getting started? And then once they get started, hey, what are one or two maybe gold nuggets for anybody new kind of coming into the program?
Yeah, I think just do it. Like, I think we spend so long in our lives, like, overanalyzing what we do, how we get there, what we spend to get there, and all of those sorts of things. And I think, my dad was one of the most inspiring people to me because he got made redundant in the recession, like, lost his job of like 30 plus years, and suddenly had to completely retrain trades and change careers. And I remember coming to him when I left the education system and saying, like, it's all over. I've scuppered my career. I don't know what I'm doing next. Da, 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 da. And him just being like, that was just like one really small chapter of your life, Amy. Like, do you realize that when you just like go for it and you just push doors and you just see what happens, it doesn't even matter if you changed your mind 5, 10, 15 years down the line. You can have multiple careers. And I think so that was the biggest thing that sort of like encouraged me to kind of let go of that whole I need to really innately make sure this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, which I feel like, guys, like you don't need to have the next 50 to 80 years mapped out. Just work on your next 2 to 5 years. Like, where do you dream of being? And if that's getting out of the classroom, if that's like launching a tutoring business, then just do it. Just start putting those small steps in place. Trust the process. It is, you are surrounded by support, you're surrounded by modules that break it down into step by step like focuses. And so trust the process. Like, don't worry about, I haven't hit this yet, or I haven't grown that yet. It is a process. And just like we were talking about Luke earlier and his amazing success journey, like it will just start to cannonball. Like before you know it, you've got this like the snowball effect, and it will just all start happening. You'll be going, whoa, take me back to when nothing moved. But honestly, like just do it, trust the process. And hard work and determination will take you so far, but being around the right people, being in an environment which in my opinion, I've explained it to you, haven't I? It's like the greenhouse effect. Like I honestly believe that the teacher project is like the greenhouse effect. Like your plants might grow fine outside, but you put them in the greenhouse in that like nurturing environment, and they will just grow twice as fast. And that's where I feel like I'm at, like in this community, rubbing shoulders with people who are there to carry me when it gets tough or when I don't have the answers. That is making me grow twice as fast than if I was to ever go it alone. So yeah, go for it, trust the process, and work hard, be determined, but ultimately you need to be around people.